In this episode, we're going to explore the songwriting talents of Stephen Bruce Med. Let's watch a video entitled Rum Runners.
Gentleman Bruce and Roughshod Jim, Wily Wild Bill and Big Bad Ben, four of the toughest bootleg men, bearing gifts Canadian. So go rum runners across the lake to the thirsty United States. You better be quick and you better be bold when the gunboats come for the liquid gold. Sitting on top of Main Dock Isle, old King Cole with a great big smile. He makes his money from the fishermen, running whiskey, beer and gin. So go rum runners across the lake to the thirsty United States. You better be quick and you better be bold when the gunboats come for the liquid gold. Packing up crates of Corby booze, from Prince Edward County we cruise to Sodas Bay on the U.S. side to keep the gin joints from running dry. So go rum runners across the lake to the thirsty United States. You better be quick and you better be bold when the gunboats come for the liquid gold. Now I count my money when the day is done, thank my honey for coke and rum, and understand in the land of the free, you can't get a drink there legally. So go rum runners across the lake to the thirsty United States. You better be quick and you better be bold when the gunboats come for the liquid gold. When the gunboats come for the liquid gold.
Mute it.
A wonderful bit of Canadian history embedded into a great song. You do a lot of songs that include a history lesson in them, and I understand you're a history buff as well as a songwriter, especially history of the area. How did that all get started?
I think when I turned 60, I realized that my life was behind me than in front of me, and I started looking at the history of our region, and I thought, let's try and discover where I come from personally, my ancestors, and also the ancestors of my community. I live in Napanee, and before I knew it, I embarked on this project called If Lilacs Could Sing, and I wanted to write historical ballads about the history, that whole area between the Bay of Quinte and Kingston, Greater Napanee and all that kind of thing. And before I knew it, I had enough ballads not only to create a book, but also probably 2 or 3 albums worth of musical material. And that's kind of where it happened. I just wanted to look backwards instead of forwards and see, where the heck did I come from?
That's really good, yeah. And the book is, I just happen to have a copy.
Oh, good.
And If Lilacs Could Sing. And now you said there's still more progress being made on another edition?
Yeah, so it's a much slower process to record the songs, trying to get studio time and that sort of thing lined up. And so I actually pushed forward with a book. It's almost like a beefed up liner notes. And so all the ballads I've written have a place in the book called If Lilacs Could Sing. And I bring in historical pictures that I've got from various museums, Lennox and Addington County Museum in particular. and I put in the backstory of the song, and then I put in the lyrics of the song. And so it accompanies the music, which I have in a digital format up on Bandcamp. And I figure that's the best way to do it, because I can't record these songs fast enough. I've got too many, so I'll get something out, which is the book, right?
A nice problem to have.
A nice problem to have, yeah.
Yeah. Stephen, did you get started in music like a lot of us when the Beatles came out and we all had to get guitars and that sort of thing? How did you get started?
You know, the Beatles were definitely one of the biggest influences. Even though I don't write Beatle-type music, I was a huge, huge Beatle fan, still am. But if I look back, it's probably the trios of the 60s that I really gravitated towards. Chad Mitchell Trio, the Kingston Trio, Peter, Paul, and Mary. My dad used to play the albums around the house all the time, and my brother and I would learn the songs off those albums. And he also played some of the country balladeers like Marty Robbins and Jimmy Horton and guys like that. So I really got sort of hooked on the story songs, the ballads and that kind of stuff.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and it seems to have followed you in that way. Now, you were telling me before the show that you had spent a lot of time up north. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, my earlier career, I was both a mining and an environmental geologist, so I got to visit many of the most remote parts of this country, if not the planet, in that work. And I think that's a driving force for some of the songs I wrote, which have sort of an environmental adventure type theme. And so one theme in particular is just the power of seeing the caribou herd runs. And I was there actually on a platinum exploration project back in the 80s, and I got to be there when the caribou were running, the George Lake herd. They were running through northern Quebec in the tens of thousands. Wow. And it's like seeing the wildebeest of the African Serengeti.
Right.
But it was the Canadian version of it, seeing these caribou. This herd at the time was 800,000 strong.
Boy.
And I was right there in the middle of that caribou run. It was absolutely a life-changing thing for me.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow. That's great. And so that experience might have inspired this next song, Born Beneath the Midnight Sun.
Yeah, and so I was fortunate. I got to work with the Inuit people on a few projects, and this song in particular was spawned by that connection with the Inuit people and how they saw their place in the land and the importance of the caribou herd to not only their culture, but their survival.
Right.
Yeah.
You made a beautiful video. Maybe we should have a look at it.
Lovely. I love watching the caribou.
Shadow on the barren lands, stretching out from where he stands, in a of the Copper Clan fair hunter, silhouette against the sky, frozen in the hunter's eye, tucked two of the blue-nosed tribe asunder. Suddenly the hunter strikes, pulling on the trigger tight, shatter silence in the night and thunder. When the beast had fallen down, voices ring and drums resound, grateful all the ones around the supper. Gathering along the heights, striding through the hunter's sights, he'll take only one tonight, no other. Tucked two on the tundra run, in the veins of everyone, born beneath the midnight sun forever. Suddenly the hunter strikes, pulling on the trigger tight. Shout of silence in the night and thunder. When the beast is falling down, voices ring and drums resound. Grateful all the ones around the supper. When the beast is falling down, voices ring and drums resound. Celebration all around the supper.
You've been really instrumental in helping other songwriters, especially young songwriters and musicians and singers and so on. Can you tell us about a young lady that you ran into from Napanee?
Yeah, people might have heard of this young lady. Her name was Avril Lavigne. And so I met up with Avril. I was involved with some community theater musical events. That's where I first met her, was on one of these events in Napanee. And at the time I was I'd come back to Napanee and I'd seen it through a different set of eyes. When I left high school, I wanted to get away from Napanee. I came back this time married, and I fell in love with my town again, and I started writing all these ballads. And I thought, let's try and do a CD. I had no idea what I was doing, and I got a number of young people involved, plus some seasoned musicians out of Kingston. And before I knew it, I was doing 2 CDs, and Avril was a centerpiece of both of those.
Nice.
So I wrote and recorded Avril's first ever studio songs, her first 3 songs. And she walked into the studio for the first time to record a song I wrote called Touch the Sky. And she just knocked the socks out of it. It was like a pro walking up to that mic. And on my first album called The Quinte Spirit, that track is her first ever take in a studio, and it survived. Her first take was a keeper, and before I knew it, when she was discovered, I had people from all over the world showing up at my front door to interview me because of my connection to Avril. Rolling Stone magazine interviewed me in my kitchen. My kids were on Yourtv. I was on Much Music. And it was pretty heady stuff. Incredible ride, not only for Avril, obviously, but also for my family and the friends that were part of the CD projects. And I still shake my head and wonder, you know, did this actually happen? But because I look at Avril now and she is, you know, in the stratosphere. So
Right. Yeah.
yeah. So, but to be able to help her, and she actually thanked me and my recording team in the liner notes of her first album called Let Go.
That's fantastic.
And her dad, John, he brought over an advance copy of that album before it was released and said, Steve, read through the liner notes. And when I saw that she thanked me, I actually broke down and cried.
Oh, that's
quite
awesome.
moved. Yeah.
But that is such an honor.
Yeah, it
you
sure
know,
is,
but
yeah.
but you really probably helped her, and maybe she wouldn't be the Avril Lavigne that we know today without someone like you to mentor along the way.
I think there's a number of links in a chain of events that, you know, assisted Avril in the beginning. Certainly the opportunity to record first time in a studio, because that night we recorded Touch the Sky. It was funny, the jaws dropped of everybody in the studio, and her dad included. So she was rewarded that evening after the studio session. Her dad said, let's go to Tim Hortons, I'm going to buy you a cup of coffee. And presumably she wasn't allowed to have coffee at that age. I'm not sure, but she might have had a whole lot more than that, but parents don't know that kind of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But so that was kind of funny. As I was driving the two of them home, we pulled into a drive-through in Tim Hortons in Kingston, and that was her reward for the great studio performance.
Wow. I think she wants a little bit more when she does her recording now. But the good thing is, you were lucky enough to archive that, and you have some early video that hopefully we could watch right now of Avril in the studio with one of your showpiece kind of songs.
Yeah, so just to give you some background, the song you're about to show here is a ballad, basically an anthem I wrote about the area I live in. It's called the Quinte Spirit, and Avril, along with another daughter of a friend of mine, her name's Stephanie Trott, the two of them do backup harmony on this.
Okay.
This video, yeah.
Let's have a look.
Yeah.
Way off.
You're it was captured.
That was bad.
Okay, just sing those first two lines to me now. And I've been down.
Hey, babe, before and up
Everybody.
long reach along the high shore, Tyandanega.
Okay, let's do a long and up long reach.
And up long reach along the high shore.
Avril, you're thinking that a long's gonna go up and then it doesn't go up. So just it just doesn't go up. So here we go. And up.
Long reach along the high shore, and up long reach along the high shore,
Terrific.
and up long reach along the high shore.
Beautiful. We'll do it right now.
I've been down, hey babe, before, and up long reach along the high shore.
In my heart there is a place so fair, where lilacs bloom to sweeten springtime air. On limestone shores of waters I have roamed, the Quinte spirit now calls me back home. When I was young, in a little boat I'd go up and down the bay where the perch and pickerel show. A pocket full of dreams and the whole world to explore. The Quinte spirit now calls me once more. And I've been down, hey babe, before, and up long reach along the high shore, Tyandanega and Deseronto too. I'll be in Napoli and Quinte soon. Across this land, travel far and wide, from Newfoundland all the way to Haida-Gwaii, from Baffin Bay down to Lake Ontario. Quinte spirit now calls me back home.
Stephen, you run a kind of workshop called the Songwriter's Orbit. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's a fairly recent creation of mine. I've organized musical events in the past, but this time I wanted to bring together a couple of guest songwriters of the region, and I like to explore the creative process with people. I'm always fascinated by how do songwriters, myself included, write these songs. So every couple of months I have a showcase for these guests to join me, and we sit down and we talk about the songs, the creative process, maybe some of the pitfalls, some of the performance pitfalls where something you've done before that really embarrassed the heck out of you. And we just sort of dive deep into the songwriting. And then we just go around, the three of us, and we go back and forth and sing the songs that we're talking about. And it's a great feeling. Anybody that's interested in the art of songwriting, it's a great thing. And I have a Facebook page called the Songwriters Orbit, so if people are interested in the scheduling of the next Songwriters Orbit event, they can visit that page.
That is just awesome, because it's something that to compare notes with somebody else is so helpful a lot. You also talk about the 3 pillars of your writing. Can you describe that?
Yeah, so the 3 pillars for me is the musical / art piece of it, but also the history and the environmental pieces. I think of those 3 pillars. Those are the 3 things that really influence a lot of my songwriting. Of course, I write a lot of historical ballads now, but a number of the songs I've written too have been inspired by the environment. Some of the great landscapes I've seen in Canada, plus in the Arctic of Norway. I used to work up there as a geologist. And yeah, that's basically what the 3 pillars are all about.
I think we got time for one more video, and this one's called We Are One.
We are one.
A breath of wind, a drop of rain, sunshine brings hope again. Fallow fields that bloom and grow in a rhythm nature knows. When we wish upon a star and we wonder who we are, will we recognize our place in the universal space? And all the walls around us crumble in the sun, and the ties that bind us remind us we are one. Way oh, 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 way oh. Every atom in our bones, every spark that lights our soul, navigating space and time, connecting life of every kind. And all the walls around us crumble in the sun, and the ties that bind us remind us we are one. Way oh, 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 way we borrow this old world from our children, we are told. Treading lightly we must go in a rhythm that God knows, and all the walls around us crumble in the sun, and the ties that bind us remind us we are